All right, do over. I think we've got that issue solved. We'll just start from the top. Put those away, please. Greetings, Portal Masters.
You're listening to Skycast, the unofficial Skylanders podcast.
Hey, Skylanders fans, welcome back to the Skycast, episode 29, and we are doing a live podcast tonight. I am here with my daughter, Abby. Abby, how's it going?
It's going good.
Do you feel like we've done this before, like maybe 5 minutes ago?
Yeah.
So, because we have, we're doing the podcast live, and so with that comes its own little unique set of quirks. We don't have the luxury of editing and things like that. We had a little bit of a hiccup with bandwidth at the very top of the show, and now we're starting over. So, deja vu all over again. With us today on Skycast, as always, we have the Skylanders Mega Collector, Doug. Doug, does it feel a little bit weird to be doing this live podcast?
A little bit, but you know, it is what it is. We've got our reasons.
Yeah, we certainly do. The least of those reasons is that my computer that I normally use to do the show, to do the editing and my part of the Skycast, is in the shop right now. I won't get it back until tomorrow, and we were worried that we wouldn't have enough time to get everything recorded and edited and out for you. And we also were taking into consideration the fact that we did miss a show last week for important reasons. As many of you know, we've shared this via Twitter and some of our other social media channels. Doug had a death in the family. He lost his mother this past week. It's been a very difficult time for everybody, and we just kind of wanted to. Doug, we wanted you to kind of have the space that you needed to deal with that whatever way you wanted to, and I know you're eager to get back on the show and to get a routine reestablished and just kind of try to get life feeling like it's back to normal again. So feel free to talk about that as much as you want to, and then we will do that very thing. We'll get on with the business of talking about Skylanders.
Okay, well, anybody who tuned in when we first started will have heard some of this, but basically my mom had a fall back in either April or May, and it's been so long of dealing with it that I don't remember specifically what the particular date was on it anymore. But she had broken and dislocated her shoulder, and that was a long time in trying to get her up and running. She moved out of the hospital, went to a rehab facility, was there for a couple of months. We got her stepped down to an assisted living facility while my brother and I were making renovations to her house to make it easier and more accessible for her for when she'd finally get to come back home and spend time with us and whatnot. And then a couple of weeks or so ago, we got a call that she'd been rushed to the hospital for difficulty breathing and a couple of other things, which kind of came out of the blue. And after spending a couple of days, and I know this is going to sound harsh, but honestly, this kind of is the way it happened. After I spent basically 3 days in the hospital with her, talking to the staff the whole time, making sure they didn't kill her, because she refused. After somebody had a single person had stuck her like 3 or 4 times unsuccessfully for some sort of blood test. She refused to let them do it again, so they marked down that she refused treatment, and it was 3 days of me arguing with them to make sure that they didn't, just let her die. Got that corrected. Everything was turning itself around. We were making plans to get her back to, her assisted living apartment, and, we were working on setting a date for getting her home, and then all of a sudden my brother and I got a call to, say that they were calling to see about us setting her up for hospice. And if anybody's unaware, hospice is basically the preparations that you make for loved ones when they're to the point where they're getting ready to pass away. And that kind of came out of the blue and struck my brother and I pretty hard. And we went in and talked to the nurse, and she said, well, it's possible that she might turn it around, but as it is, as her health is, and all the different problems she's got, it very well, is likely terminal. So, we would want to go ahead and start her on this. And if she turns around, that's great. But, you're looking at, several weeks, estimated out at about a couple of months to, 6 to 8 months, just depends on how everything went. And that was kind of a shock. And my brother being the one who Mom had assigned to make all of the decisions and stuff for her, should he need to, went ahead and signed the paperwork, made the arrangements and everything. And so I stayed out of work the next day to come see her and visit with her. And I spent 4 or 5 hours, in her room with her, but she had gotten to the point where she was, kind of non-responsive and not really, sure what was going on there. I know that they had given her something to help make her more comfortable than what she was, but she was a little bit out of it. I was planning on bringing my son back through. I hadn't been able to the day before because they had suspected that she had MRSA, and so had everything locked down. And so I basically sat with her for several hours, got up, talked to her a little bit, told her that I loved her, told her I had to go, get Will, and was planning on bringing him back through. And then got a call, after I'd gotten gas and resumed my journey to pick up my son, that she was gone. And the rest of the week was pretty much a crap sandwich after that.
Yeah, it's I'm sure it's impossible to salvage anything at that point, and you just try to get through it day by day. And I know you're still kind of taking it day by day, but it's good, I think, to get back into routines and things like that. It helps you kind of just reestablish a sense of normalcy. So hopefully the show will do that for you. If not, me and Abby can hold down the fort, right?
Yeah. We
can talk about Skylanders if we need to, but we're certainly glad to have you back, Doug. And very incredibly sorry for your loss. And I know that a lot of the community has shared their thoughts with you on that as well, and we certainly do appreciate that, guys. We really, really do. I'm sure that probably helped a lot, Doug, and when you got those supportive messages throughout the week.
Yeah, that was fantastic. I wasn't really expecting the outpouring that I saw, and that was really, really great to see. And also, and I know this is going to be in character for me, but I really, did mean this when I put it up on my personal Facebook, and apparently, thankfully, didn't have to ask the fans for it, but thank everybody who did not constantly, and I know each individual person does it once, but when you have a whole group of people who are asking you stuff, it kind of, turns into a landslide. Thank everybody for not asking me how I am, because the hospital staff ruined that whole process for me before, Mom was even, gone, before, there was any, sudden issue or anything. She had more staff attending her last day than I had seen any other time when they were actively trying to get her better and get her out of the hospital. And I swear I talked to 2 or 3 dozen people that day as they wandered through it. Oh, how are you? It's like, just leave me alone. Leave me alone with my mom. I want to sit down with her, not with you guys.
Yeah. How do you think I am?
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. Well, there's no good way to transition out of that, so I'm not even going to try. But we do want to talk about some Skylanders, and I know you guys are eager to hear some stuff on some Skylanders, so everybody ready to get into the Skylanders part of our show? Abby, are you ready to go to bed? Are you going to fall asleep on me?
Probably.
All right, we can hang in there. We can do this. We got this. Doug, you have my permission if Abby starts yawning to scream really, really loud and try to wake her up.
I'm sure the listeners will really especially love that.
Nobody listens to this show. What are you talking about? All right, guys. I got a couple things I want to announce before we get into the news. We are going to have a launch day Superchargers stream. We haven't streamed a lot lately. I've honestly tried, but it's just been difficult to get the motivation and the energy to stream these old games, knowing that Superchargers is right around the corner. And I am really excited about Superchargers. I can't wait to stream it. I know Abby's excited. So we're going to kick all that off with a launch day stream, which will be Sunday, September the 20th. It'll probably start around noon, but we're going to have to play that by ear because it's going to depend on how quickly we can get out to all the stores and get all the stuff that we need to get and then get back home and get set up to stream. But once we start, we're going to stream all day. I mean, we're probably going to go until like 8 or 9 o'clock at night. So it'll be a huge mega stream, very long day, very fun day of us playing Superchargers and opening stuff and racing with fans and doing co-op with Doug and Emily. And oh, I just can't wait. I'm so excited. Doug, are you excited? I mean, we've been waiting on this day and talking about this day for, God, it seems like forever.
I am, and you basically brought into my mind the thought that I probably should arrange for a babysitter that day to make sure that it's not me just sitting around all day playing Skylanders and talking to you guys and Emily shooting me dirty looks from the sidelines while she's trying to keep Will quiet.
Yeah, don't be that guy. Let Emily play too. So that's our first big stream that's coming up. The next thing that I want to tell you about is Extra Life. We've mentioned Extra Life on the show a lot, but we haven't given you a ton of details. You can see I'm wearing my shirt from Extra Life last year. Extra Life this year is going to be a 3-day, all weekend long event. So we thought, it's going to be incredible. We thought, what can we do to top last year? And the answer is, instead of just streaming for like 24 hours, we're going to stream for 3 days. So we're going to start on Friday, November the 6th, Friday, November the 6th, at about 7 o'clock. And we're going to stream until we go to bed, whatever time it is. We're going to get up on Saturday morning, November the 7th, and we're going to stream all day, so like 9 a.m. till whenever we pass out. And then we're going to get up again on Sunday and do the exact same thing. So 3 full days of streaming, more than 24 hours of streaming over that weekend, all for the good cause of raising money for Children's Miracle Network and Extra Life. So it's going to be incredible. Doug, I took last week, I took all the prizes that we've accumulated and I put them in a giant Tupperware bin, like a giant Tupperware storage bin, and it's overflowing the bin. We have so much stuff to give away. So,
well, I hope you realize that there's still like close to half a dozen things that I still need to bring over.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're not even done collecting prizes for Extra Life yet. So we're gonna probably have to give something away like every half hour just to be able to give all the stuff away that we've got lined up. So mark those dates on your calendar. Sunday, September the 20th, Friday, November 6th, Saturday, November 7th, and Sunday, November 8th. Basically, just put Mini Kaboom on the calendar. Just color the whole day in like that with your marker. Don't make any other plans. Come to have fun in Skylanders and show your support for Children's Miracle Network and kids that need money to go to the doctor.
I am literally about to fall asleep.
Well, too bad. I'm going to poke you if you fall asleep. So details about all that will be going up on our website and Twitter this weekend. So stay tuned for that. And I see here in the notes that we have a note that Disney Infinity had a little bit of a false start. So I'm assuming you put that there, Doug.
Pikachu mustache.
Yeah. It as sadly significant as that day is to me now, I just wanted to take the moment to rub it in that Infinity missed their pre-designated launch. Apparently GameStop knew that or at least some GameStop people knew that they had pushed the launch to Sunday the 30th. But when I got up, I had to, go by my local GameStop for, I can't remember what reason, but I had to go by, and the stuff wasn't out. I stopped by Target. I had lost my sunglasses, so I grabbed a pair of sunglasses so I could drive safely to go see Mom, and they didn't have any of it out. And sat with Mom for a couple of hours, and then took a break, and there was a Target and a GameStop, surprisingly, nearby where the hospital was. So I went up there to poke around a little bit, and neither place had the stuff out. So I finally went up to the GameStop people and went, "Hey, what's the deal with this?" And they were like, "Oh, well, let me look at the computer. It doesn't launch until the 30th." And I was like, that's strange, because after I saw the missing stuff at the first two places this morning, I actually looked it up online, and the official, whatever, infinity.com, I put it into Google, and Google gave me the result for the actual Infinity site, and it was still listing Friday the 28th. So for whatever reason, Infinity apparently blew their launch, or they decided at some point to change their launch, but they didn't change any of their promotional materials. So bravo, Disney, bravo.
Yeah, I called on the way home from work on Friday because I was having that temptation to go buy it, and they didn't have it. And I'm like, okay, cool. I'm gonna take that as a sign that I don't need to buy this thing. Let's check in with Twitch chat real quick. Cuddle Muffin wants us to know that he's going to be there for all 3 days of our extra live stream. So I cannot wait for that, Doug. I think you're guaranteed to have some more pajama pants antics with Cuddle Muffin around. Let's see. Cartoon Toko wants us to know that all the best gamers were born before the 2000s. Okay, I can agree with that. And Pikachu Mustache is in the house, so welcome, guys. We're not typing in chat as much tonight because of the whole podcast situation. This is being recorded and will go up on our feed, but we will give you all shouts outs when we can. Runty Chief, welcome to the show as well. Alright, guys, let's go ahead and get into some Skylanders news, because we got a lot of it, and this is trending out to be like a pretty long show. So let me see here, find my news sound effect. Here we go. Nope. Try again. See?
Because he didn't have the volume turned
Live
up.
radio. Live radio. Here we go. Skylands report. Okay, Doug, that means the news sound has just been played, so you can feel free to talk.
Okay, well, people at this point are probably used to an awkward pause whenever I start the news, because I never know when you're going to throw the bumper in, so I always leave this 5-second pause. And usually you'll put it in before I think you will, so it'll be like, okay, now the news, and then I just kind of sit there on the potato.
We're broadcasting professionals. We, I mean, it doesn't get any better than this. All right, what you got for us?
Okay, well, hopefully this isn't too old a news for everybody. I vaguely remember picking up some of these, the first half dozen things or so were things that I already had in the pipe before everything turned the way it did, and the rest of it I ferreted out in the last couple of hours, so hopefully I didn't miss anything. If anybody has any cool news buzz things that I've missed when we get done and through all of this, please let me know. But as far as I've been able to comb, the first one, apparently in Superchargers, vehicles will have shields of some sort, and when they're depleted, the Skylanders themselves will take damage. Looks like the vehicles are supposed to be indestructible. The Skylanders are not, and I guess the shields will recharge over time. Good to know about that. I'm a little, I'm a little disappointed that it's not, you're invincible when you're, in the vehicle, or, the vehicle has its own health meter and it's super duper, in compared to what the Skylander is. But, it's definitely better than nothing. You at least get a freebie period, kind of like the horribly ugly Rattleshake, Soul Gem ability.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious as to what's going to happen when the vehicle quote unquote dies, you know, because like with the Skylander, when they take too much damage, they just kind of like spin around and fall down and go, and it says your Skylander needs to rest. But I mean, that doesn't really work for a vehicle. I was wondering if the vehicles were actually going to explode or whatever.
Well, apparently not. You know, at the very least, you'd think that they would have had it, you know, set up with some sort of independent life, you know, life bar or something. Maybe not necessarily go to sleep or blow up or whatever, but it would certainly encourage people to buy a whole lot of vehicles. But at least as best we can tell, it looks like Vicarious Visions is not actually the one trying to be as money grubby this time around. It's looking like it is, you know, most of that is falling into the court of Activision, which really shouldn't.
No way.
Surprise.
Activision,
Yeah.
money hungry?
Yeah, well,
Not
with all
possible.
their other franchises, you know, isn't Hearthstone one of theirs?
Kind of, yeah. I mean, they own
Well, there we go.
Blizzard now, so yeah. All right. So levels. What's this next one here? Levels now have multiple chapters.
Yeah, that was a little blurb that I found, and I didn't see any additional details about it. Nobody has talked about it more in depth that I saw. It's looking like there are like 5 or 6, you know, maybe 7. I don't remember the specific number. Feel free to jump in and correct me if I'm wrong. But it looks like there are a comparative handful number of levels versus, you know, the 20 or 30 or whatever it was in Spyro's Adventure. And it's apparently not as restrictive as people had originally said about Swap Force, and, you know, when Vicarious Visions first caused the sky to fall. It looks like they've actually broken up each individual level into separate chapters. So it looks like if you count the chapters as the Spyro's Adventure / Giants standard of, you know, what a level should be, it looks like we might actually end up with more quote-unquote levels when you count all of the chapters and all of the levels together.
Okay. Well, as long as you can take breaks in between chapters, I'm fine with that. You know, just need a way to be able to not have to sit there and play for an entire hour without completing a level.
I'm pretty sure that's exactly what that was meant to be. All right, next up, not a whole lot of people probably care about this, especially given where it's at, and I will explain that comment in a moment. But currently, the Battlegrounds iOS starters are on clearance at $9.99 on BestBuy.com. I checked this half an hour or so before we started up the show, so this was still in effect. The reason that this isn't as great a deal as it could be is the fact that usually the go-to character to get out of the Battleground starter was going to be Royal Double Trouble, but seeing as how he was a GameStop exclusive and this is the standardized version, the only real goodie to get out of that other than the Bluetooth portal would be the fact that you get the quote-unquote Series 1.5 Double Trouble, where it is a Series 2 chip and a Series 2 base, but the Series 1 pose and the Series 1 coloration.
Okay, and no part of that is going to help you play like Trap Team or any of the other games on the tablet, right? Because they all come with their own portals and stuff like that.
It won't, but as far as some of the, you know, like if you actually are interested in playing Battlegrounds, and I think the Bluetooth portal does link up to the previous iOS games, the non-full games. So if you're wanting to swap your characters in and out without having to type in 8 million codes, I think you are able to link up the Bluetooth portal and actually go ahead and drop them in.
Battlegrounds is not a bad game. It's actually kind of fun. So for $10, it's totally worth it to pick that up. And if you don't already have a Bluetooth portal, you can use it in other things like the Collection Vault and Lost Islands and things like that. So.
Okay, and sorry about the occasional pauses. I'm sitting here. I skipped lunch, so I've got a bag of potato chips with me. So I'm occasionally muting myself so everybody doesn't hear me crunching chips. So if you know Matt and Abby don't respond as long as I think they're going to, and there's a pause, it's because I don't want you guys to you know have to suffer through me chewing on the air.
Abby's going to stop responding to anything in a matter of minutes. She's just put her head down on the desk and she's about to go to sleep.
You just need to you need to put like a beanbag pillow under her chair and then kick the legs real hard after she dozes off completely, so that she'll get startled and then fall into the soft beanbag chair.
I think we'll get her back to life once we get to the one of the later topics, because there'll be more for her to comment on then.
Hopefully. Next up is, again, potentially a bit of a snooze, no offense, Abby. Apparently Walmart has a deal on walmart.com, and you may have to dig a little bit to find it, but apparently they have all 7 of the non-starter Giants characters available new at $19.99 plus shipping and handling. So if you missed some characters, if you sold your collection and wanted to get back into it, if you never did get the Giants characters, this is a comparatively fantastic, opportunity for you to be able to get your hands on these guys. The Giants aren't nearly so horrible in later games. They were really rough in Giants because you really did have to have all of the speed boosts through the heroic challenges to get them playable in Giants. But later on, they are pretty cool, and the characterization and the care taken in crafting those characters really came through a lot better. So that is a good chance for you guys to spend a comparative little bit of money to get all of the ones that weren't in the starter if you don't have them.
Abby, who's your favorite Giant?
Ninjini.
Of course. Doug, I'm guessing yours is Eyebrow, right?
No, it's John Cena.
You can't see me. Mine is obviously Thumpback. So, all right, cool. That's a good price on those. I wish I had only paid $19.99 for all of those.
Yeah, that's less than $3 a pop. So,
yeah.
I mean, they might be three and change with shipping and handling, but I mean that's figure, card back, card, sticker, etc. So good deal. If
I wasn't reasonably sure they'd all be falling off of their card backs at this point anyway, I might actually buy those just to have them in the pack. But they're so old that the glue's probably coming loose on those things by now.
I don't know. I've got some Giants characters that are still pretty good. All right, next up is another potentially fantastic deal.
It's like Deal Watch on this Skycast this week.
Pretty much, and this one was only from like a day or so ago, so apparently this is still running. For those who aren't aware, there is apparently an app for Target called Cartwheel, which will not randomly, but it will basically give you coupons and discount offers on things that seem random, but that they just suddenly go, hey, we have a lot of X, let's get rid of it. And if you happen to have that app installed, there was a Dark Spyro user who actually reported that they managed to walk out with a Trap Team starter a day or two ago anyway, at $2.49.
That's incredible.
Yeah, that's almost as ridiculous as all of those Giant starters that I got for 99 cents at one time.
So that's a combination of the Cartwheel savings and the $10 off General Mills coupon.
Yep. Apparently, Cartwheel gives you 75% off, and then if you stack the General Mills $10 off coupon, that according to this particular user's experience, it gives you a $47.50 discount. I'm assuming that means that their Target already had their starters marked down. Mine haven't, so I guess I could potentially stack the McDonald's villain toy coupons on top of that if I wanted or needed to. I don't know if those are even still valid. I haven't had the villains out to check in such a long time, but who knows? Maybe if you stack the McDonald's ones on top of it, you would get it for free, and they give you money back since technically they turn those coupons in for X amount of dollars from the issuer.
Do you think that deal would work on the Dark Editions too? Because I've seen a couple of those on shelves at my Target, and I've been kind of waiting on them to go on clearance or something.
I really don't know. I don't have the Cartwheel app, but if you pull it up, it may or may not say standard starter, or it might just say any Skylanders Trap Team starter.
Yeah.
All right, and the next one up is totally self-serving, and apparently Matt didn't scan the notes. missed it, so I'm going to talk about it on the air since we're live and he can't stop me now. Apparently fans are pumped up for Roller Brawl after some of her gameplay videos leaked, and I have to say, after watching the video of the new Roller Brawl, yeah, she has been pretty pimped out. I can't wait to see how she goes. I know that we had reported before that she apparently had some sort of boomerang weapons, but it doesn't look like you can see those in the video. It looks like she's got some sort of boosts to her arm blades, so maybe that's what we were seeing before, or everybody was thinking was there. But yeah, there are so many people on Dark Spyro right now that are apparently in love with Roller Brawl that never really talked about her before, that it's not even funny.
I've got the video pulled up here. This is just a little 45-second in-game clip that you get when you find the soul gem. So I'm just going to run it real quick. The audio might be a little low, but we can at least look at it on the stream. Oh, that's cool. They do a little comic transition. She's got skate blades. Wow, look at that, Abby.
Wow.
Look at those claws. Yep. And there she is in a couple of vehicles. Many different vehicles.
Hot trick.
There's the tomb buggy. There's her car. Wow, Doug.
Whoa.
That thing's amazing.
That is awesome.
That is so cool. Yeah, I'd say you were pretty pleased with seeing this, Doug.
Yeah, Emily, once she sees it, I'm sure is going to yell at me and tell me that I was playing the long game and conned her when I picked the undead figures and stuck her with the life figures. But that's just a life choice that she made that she's going to have to learn to live with.
Alright, that's very cool. If you haven't seen that, I'm sure it's very easy to find. Just go Google, what's she called? Bone Bash Roller Brawl?
Yes. I think.
Yep, that would be correct.
Yep, awesome. Very cool. I'm excited for that, and I'm not even a huge Roller Brawl fan, so...
That's because most of your characters ended up with black eyes after she went into arena mode with you.
Rub it in, Doug, rub it in.
Hey, I wasn't the one who cheated and went and hid in the ceiling the whole time until time ran out. Oh, look, she's taken slightly more damage than your cheesy, hide in the ceiling man. Oh, no.
Alrighty, what's up? What's up next?
Apparently, according to new gameplay videos that have popped up, Big Bubble Pop Fizz apparently has, not only Beast Mode restored, so take note of that. They didn't disappoint everybody by going, you know what? He's now a band geek, and only a band geek. Apparently, he still does freak out and turn into the monster, but for whatever reason, he can apparently change into 3 or 4 different colors when he's in Beast Mode. And it's been suggested that he might have different powers or, some sort of unique ability for each color. I remember seeing a green one, I think like a beige one, and of course there's the standard blue. I think there was one more that he cycled through. It looked like he was using potions as like hair tonic or something, because he throws his hands up and there's like a splash of color above his head and then his fur changes color.
Yeah, this is another gameplay video of Pop Fizz. So I'll just throw this up on the screen real quick here, and we'll watch that. He definitely looks different in game than his figure. Oh wow. Yep, you can, oh yeah, you can see the color changes there. Got some vehicle gameplay going on. This is cool. There's the soda skimmer. Awesome. Oh, it goes underwater. I don't know how this is going to come across in the recorded show, but we just watched that video. It's pretty cool. Go check it out. Abby, what do you think about these the vehicles? Have you noticed the way that when you put the supercharger into their
It
vehicle,
just kind of like
well, it changes color. Have
Yeah.
you noticed that? Did you see
Yeah.
how the Toon Buggy went from white to black, and then that
Yeah.
one like did some kind of cool color change? That's pretty neat.
yeah.
I thought about making commentary on that, but there were a couple of moderators on Dark Spyro that said that the color change and everything was due to modifications that were put on the vehicle instead of it, changing color during the supercharging process. I'm not sure if that's the case or not. A lot of the moderators will comment immediately after one of these new videos pops up, and they'll say, "Oh, well, these 2 or 3 new modifications are visible in this video," and it's like, they don't mention any modifications. How do you know what this is? So who knows? Maybe the mods have some sort of secret, inside track that we don't know about.
Yeah, it's a cool effect either way. I mean, regardless of how you get it, it's pretty cool.
All right, next up is, well, it's as peripherally Skylanders related as the actual things that we're getting, and a lot of us are still complaining and griping about. Apparently, the HDRoom.com did an interview with some of the folks at Vicarious Visions. I didn't read through all of it. I just scanned through their article. Apparently, they had initially considered a warrior version of Princess Peach, Kirby, and Fox McCloud as their amiibo landers versus Donkey Kong and Bowser, as we ended up getting stuck with.
Yeah, I would have been happier with any combination of those characters than what we got.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened with Peach or Fox, but apparently because Kirby is partially owned by HAL Laboratories and not wholly owned by Nintendo, apparently they didn't have the full licensing rights to be able to put him out as an amiibo lander. So honestly, I think he would have actually been really cool, if you just sucked up a random enemy and then all of a sudden you were running around as whatever type of troll or goblin or Cyclops or whatever happened to be there, in true Kirby style.
Well, I mean, depending on how well these things sell, I doubt we've seen the last of them, so there's a possibility that we could see even more amiibo landers in the future, so maybe they'll get a second shot.
Don't blaspheme, Matt.
I don't want it. I'm just saying, people are going to buy them, and Activision's going to go, okay, these things are printing money, let's make more.
Yeah, we'll see.
And you and I will be the last two people just standing there, mad about it.
Could be. Later on in the same article, they mentioned that they had initially considered separate elements for Bowser and Donkey Kong, and then discarded the idea. And honestly, I think the fact that they mentioned that they had considered creating a banana element for Donkey Kong, I think that really lends credence to how poor an idea. Not only the concept of let's create unique elements for these two amiibo guys, and also add some serious, issues to the relevance of adding in the Nintendo characters was. I mean, the banana element. What were you guys thinking?
Should I play the Banana Phone song while we're talking about bananas?
Probably not. You aren't a fan of that, so
yeah, that's just dumb. I don't even want to talk about it anymore. Let's move on.
Okay, the iOS version of Superchargers has finally been announced. There was an official press release. There was a shot of the starter set in and out of the box. It looks like it features the exact same characters as the standard starter. I guess I should say the standard non-Nintendo starter. And it looks like it has a very similar portal and playstyle as to what the Trap Team tablet starter did. One thing to note is this is specifically supposed to be an iOS platform only starter set. So it looks like they probably ran into too many problems with and I know I'm sure we'll get hate mail on this, but truth is truth, with the fragmentation of at this point dozens of different versions of Android and the dozens of different devices across multiple manufacturers, both legitimate as far as available at normal retail, and then the third-party knockoff versions, which are sometimes as powerful as the standard ones, but have to have the Google Play Store and things like that cheated onto them because they're not officially sanctioned to have Android on them at all.
Do you think the portal that comes with this is the exact same portal as the Trap Team portal? Because it looks identical to me. I mean,
yeah, it really looks a lot like it. And honestly, I had thoughts, and I can't remember if I posted on Dark Spyro or not about it, but I had some serious questions about whether or not you would even need to purchase the new version, other than to say that you did. If all it's looking for is the portal and they didn't do some sort of technical back-end thing to the portal, you should be able to get one of the, at this point, $5 or $10 Trap Team portal, Trap Team tablet portals, and go ahead and use it to connect to your tablet via Bluetooth and unlock it. At this point, you're stuck with iOS only, so if you're an Android user, you're kind of left out in the cold. But if you're an iOS user, you may be able to get by with a free game. I don't know if they consider that and how that might turn out.
the controller looks the same too. I'm wondering if the app itself might have like an in-game unlock or something, where you could just download the app, hook it up to your existing portal and controller, and pay like $9.99 or something, and be able to play the game like a digital edition kind of thing or something. That'd be cool if they do that. Yeah, we'll see. Welcome back.
I will see after Black Friday, maybe.
Yeah.
I was in the bathroom.
Okay, that's fine. Thanks for sharing.
Okay, and this one is, these next two actually are, I think they're very interesting. I'll give more detail about, my particular area, later on, and I will actually read off the official URLs for these, so if you're really turned off by people reading web addresses, you may want to skip about 30 seconds to a couple minutes ahead. The first announcement, and it will be linked to the second one, is that Toys R Us locations are already announcing plans for midnight launches across multiple locations.
Yes.
I found out this news on darkspyro.net, and one user was helpful enough to actually link to a specific page that will take you directly to where the entire list of every store that's going to be having a midnight launch is listed. I actually, as soon as I saw that, I called out to my local Toys R Us, and they said, well, we're not currently having one. Nobody's told us that we're having one. But when I search on the website, I do see them in the list there. The URL, if you're
URL didn't work for me, Doug. Just for the record, I just tried it.
Yeah, okay. Let the buyer beware then. It is http://www.toysrus.com/shop/index.jsp ? Capital I, lowercase d, equals 662,54876 pound. That should take you to a Toys R Us page. It has an announcement at the top that all stores open early at 8 a.m. on Sunday, September 20th for the launch of Superchargers. And then underneath it, says, plus selected stores open at midnight. See below for midnight openings. And it has the complete listing just laid out automatically on the page. Plus it has an entire section devoted to nothing but state abbreviations. So if you want to see your local ones and nobody else, you can go ahead and click on those.
I got it to work. I must have clicked something wrong the first time. So yeah, here's the web page, and then here's the button to see your local hours. You click on that, opens up a new window. Doesn't look like our store is having a midnight launch. What about yours, Doug?
Again, it shows on the website as doing a midnight launch, but when I actually called them and asked about it, they said no, and then added on that nobody had told them that they were having a midnight launch. So it's hard to say. It would be the first one that they didn't have one for, so it's probably corporate didn't officially send them an email or give them a phone call and say, hey, figure out who's going to work this shift.
Yeah, it could be TBD also. Like, they could still be trying to work all that stuff out, coming, making sure they've got staff and all that. Let's check in with the chat for a second here. Cuddle Muffin wants to know how much the digital edition is going to be of Superchargers. I believe that is going to be priced at the $59 price point. Is that right, Doug?
I think it was either $49.99 or $59.99.
Yeah, it's basically priced just like a retail video game, if I recall correctly. It's somewhere in there. I don't have it right super handy. And then Cuddle also says that he thinks that Sky Amiibos are going to fail. I think you're the only one, Cuddle. I'm pretty sure they're going to sell like hotcakes.
I actually agree with Cuddle Muffin.
You think they're going to fail too?
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, like, some people don't play Skylanders on the Wii U. I mean, some people don't even have Skylanders on the Wii, so they would have to buy a new starter, and
they don't want to do that, right?
yeah, and they would have to spend like all their money on getting the Skylanders that are already out, and
Yeah.
like they would just have to go through all that trouble trying to get the Sky Amiibos.
I don't want the Sky Amiibos to fail. I just want them to be distributed and sold in a different way. So, if it takes them failing this time around to make that happen, then I guess I'm rooting for fail. But anyway.
Well, the question there is how can you tell if they failed or not? Activision has always said and is still kind of maintaining that for whatever reason, their bread and butter as far as Skylanders is concerned is always people playing on Nintendo platforms. Well, if the Nintendo people are who they think buy the most of everything, honestly, I think the Nintendo people are probably the people who buy a starter and then walk away from it mostly. Not that people who play primarily on Nintendo don't go out and buy figures, but typically the Nintendo platforms are semi-rightly considered to be the kiddie platforms, or at least more kid-friendly platforms. And so, parents who are cost-conscious, as I am now, and I'm sure you have been for some time, Matt, are probably more apt to go, well, here's your video game for your Wii, your Wii U if you happen to have one. Oh, you want these extra dudes? Well, you're going to have to spend your allowance or your Christmas money to get them, versus you and me with a PS4 or an Xbox One, whatever, going, I've got 2 extra paychecks. I'm just going to go clear the shelf of everybody that I need for my collection. I'll worry about who's fun to play with later.
Yeah.
If you're playing on a Nintendo platform, you're going to get the Amiibo landers, period. They're packed in. So saying as to whether or not they succeed or fail, it's really not going to be a fair measurement. Honestly, I think they packed them in like that so that they could potentially strong-arm them again in Sky 6 by saying, oh, well, look at the number of Sky Amiibos that we sold. Well, those are the numbers of starters that you sold to Nintendo people, so it's kind of something that they were locked into. There's no way to tell what the actual numbers were unless you sold them separately. I think the true tale will be told whenever if we ever see the actual sales numbers of the figures that aren't in the Nintendo starters when they're bought separately by those folks.
Or comparing the number of Wii U starters that were sold for Superchargers to Trap Team, could be one possible metric for it. But then, I don't know, it gets cloudy because Superchargers, I think, is a way more attractive thing overall for kids than Trap Team was. So.
Because it actually has real cars you can play with.
Exactly. Yeah, and what kid
True.
doesn't want real cars? So.
But if we see sales numbers of X many million, for the Nintendo consoles, and then we see that 17 Hot Streaks and 15 Spitfires were sold, that clearly says that the Nintendo people basically just didn't actually spend any more money. And to me, that would paint the Nintendo specific figures as failures, because the Nintendo fan base weren't actually going out and buying any of the other figures.
Cuddle brings up a good point about the digital starter editions. He said that the Disney Infinity digital download, which is basically just the game, and you bring your own portal and figures, is $20. It's $20 right now. It's not going to stay that way. I believe the suggested retail price or whatever is like $30, and it's just on promotion right now. But even so, it absolutely is a lot less than what they're going to be asking for the digital edition of Superchargers.
True,
all that,
but honestly,
all that being
there's a
said,
lot less game there.
yeah, that's what I was going to say. There's basically nothing that comes with that other than the toy box mode, which is barely a game. So, in my opinion, that's too much for that. But anyway, so it looks like we've got some more Toys R Us events that are going on as well.
Yep, the secondary thing and another URL for you guys to write down if you want to go to. All Toys R Us locations are offering Superchargers hands-on demos in-store on the 12th.
So that's next weekend, basically.
Yep, that is next Saturday. So depending on when, I can, well, actually, clicking on the thing, I didn't pay attention to the time. Apparently they are running it from noon to 2 p.m. So I will probably get there at 10 o'clock and then worry people as I pace around and around in a circle in the Skylanders area.
Abby, do you want to go to Toys R Us next Saturday and check out an early demo of Superchargers?
Before the store even opens, like we did last time for drafting.
No,
we had to wait like an hour and a half for it to start.
No, it won't be like that. We'll get there. The store will be open, but we'll be able to play the game a week before it comes out. Do you want to go try it out?
Sure.
All right. I think that'd be fun. We could go try out Superchargers and then eat lunch and then come back home and I guess we'd have to record our podcast at a different time, but we could work all that out because I'm sure you want to do the same thing, don't you, Doug?
Yep, that's why I was saying that, I started to say anyway that, we'd have to work out the schedule, but it looks like we may be able to do it and still, get me there by open. The URL, if anybody wants to look at it, is http://www.toysrus.com/shop/index.jsp !category capital I lowercase d equals 4311963.
I hope you remember that. There will be a quiz later.
You will not be able to pre-play team Superchargers if you do not know that by heart. Okay, next one is real quick. For anybody who's a fan of the Skylanders comics, I have been. I know that Matt and Abby are. I am on again, off again, because honestly I can't get them in my area. But the prequel comic, Rift into Overdrive, has officially come out, so if you want to see where things went or where things are coming from for the new game, go ahead and pick that up and read it up.
Yeah, and this is a hardcover, so that's kind of like the hardcover that we bought at the comic shop that has like 4 issues of the comic in it. They're really nice, and for like under $10, it's a really cool thing to buy and have on your shelf. So, and of course the regular editions are out as well if you want to buy issue by issue. But this is just the Amazon link that you had in the show notes, Doug. So.
Yep. Okay, next up, something that had been talked about a bunch of different places, but we finally got an answer on. Superchargers characters have finally been confirmed as being non-backwards compatible, and additionally, it looks like vehicles are under consideration for future compatibility, but at the moment, Vicarious Visions and Activision have not confirmed that they will be usable in Skylanders 6.
They will be.
You never can tell. It may be like the Giants and the Swappers, where they eventually phase out any kind of usefulness for them.
They'll have some kind of token race or level or something in there.
Yeah, let's hope.
Yep.
Okay, next up is more information from that same interview. It was Guabala being interviewed, and one thing that the Dark Spyro forum folks pointed out was that it seemed like he had finally been listening in on their conversations, because he finally started using different phrasing and different verbiage when talking about the same parts of everything. Apparently, he started. I can't remember exactly what it was, but they would make fun of him every time he would do an interview and say more or less the exact same thing in the exact same way about, oh, it's an automotive fantasy, blah, blah, blah. Apparently this time he broke character and either got a new script from PR or, actually started talking about it from the heart, answering questions. He revealed that there are no quote-unquote favorite Skylanders, and that they basically can't possibly predict them due to the way that starter pack sales work, because you're always going to see in a lot of cases Stealth Elf, because she's constantly stuck in a starter pack, so you're going to have to assume based on sales that she's a favorite, and they don't have any way to determine that. He also pointed out that there were Easter eggs in various levels. On one that I thought was the specific one they mentioned, I thought was really neat. Apparently there is a farm level, and if you have fire Skylanders equipped, you can actually fire off one of your fire attacks and hit some of the chickens that are running around. If you've ever played in any of the hub levels with sheep running around with a fire Skylander, usually you can hit them with a flame blast, from Spyro or whoever, and they'll turn black and their fur will burn away, and they'll kind of bow and run away from you. Apparently, if you do this to chickens on the farm level, they will roast the chickens, and the chickens turn into food that you can consume and go ahead and boost your health.
I'm having flashbacks to the chicken dungeon that we built in Minecraft.
That was fun.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Look forward to finding some of those things.
I remember that.
He also inadvertently confirmed Soul Gems for Bowser and Donkey Kong. He kind of roundabout mentioned it. I guess PR took him off the hook because he didn't officially say it, but they were talking about Donkey Kong, and he mentions this one power and goes, oh yeah, that's the Soul Gem thing. I was like, oh, thank you for that confirmation. Go. And then apparently later on in the conversation, he ends up, I don't know if this was, something that was planned by the interviewer, but he ends up contradicting himself by stating that quote-unquote popular characters were reposed. And, at the beginning of this, you note that he says that, there's no favorite Skylanders. We can't predict who they are because, basically, the starter pack characters sell better than everybody, and everybody else kind of goes out in the same numbers because they're case packed together. So it looks like this may be finally some indirect confirmation that, there is a specific developer bias for certain characters. We know for a fact that Trigger Happy is kind of the mascot for Toys for Bob, seeing as how he's always, in the Toys for Bob intro for the game. And it looks like, apparently somebody loves Stealth Elf since she keeps coming back with a vengeance, even though most people are sick of her. And since Spyro is supposed to be the band leader for all of this, and he gets left out more and more, it looks like they're not necessarily playing specifically by sales numbers as far as determining who goes on merchandise and who gets brought back into a game.
Okay. Nope. Looks like we... You still there, Doug?
Yep, okay. I'm back. Sorry about that.
Right. No problem. The show must go on. All right, what's next?
I went to mute and cough, and I accidentally whacked the hang up button because my screen tilted.
You were very promptly returned, so that's good.
Okay, next up, it turns out that Frightful Fiesta has already been handed out at Activision booths at the EB Expo in Australia. Apparently all you had to do was show up and do a live demo of Superchargers, and they would go ahead and just give you the figure.
I think that thing's going to be everywhere. I held off on pre-ordering it. I think you're going to be able to pick it up all over the place, so I'm not too worried about finding one.
You might be able to, but I'm still picking him up just for the fact that he's an undead character and I have to have him. Right, next up, and apparently there is a banner for this somewhere. It looks like the Target exclusive Nitro Stealth Stinger is actually the only way to obtain that particular vehicle at launch. Target will have the Nitro version available, but and I can't remember specifically what wave the regular one is supposed to be in. But if you want to be able to put Stealth Elf into her signature vehicle, you will have to go ahead and go to Target and pick up the variant one at launch to be able to do so immediately.
Well played, Target.
All right, next up is a topic that we occasionally come back to, and I'm still up in the air about as to whether or not we're truly done with it or not. But it looks like, and this was one of the moderators who pointed it out on Dark Spyro. I guess they thought that this would put an end to the conversation. I really don't think it does, but apparently Amazon's UK site is now showing a brief description, and literally it says 1 character, comma 1 sticker as far as the contents of the character packs, and there's no mention of a character card. The moderator initially said about that, he gave the full description that came off of the Best Buy site that we talked about a couple of shows ago, where they said, 1 character, 1 sticker showing, statistics. I clicked on the Amazon UK link that they provided, and while it does say literally 1 character, comma 1 sticker, it doesn't say anything else about statistics or anything else. I went to the Amazon US site to see if this was something that was going to be universal across Amazon sites, and the US site currently has no content description whatsoever for characters. So let's all throw our hands up together as far as whether or not we're getting collector cards.
It's not looking good.
It's not, and honestly, it could be that this is Activision's way of dealing with the whole scalper problem, because a lot of scalpers are collectors. They'll buy up everything of a rare character, keep one for themselves because they really are a collector, and then they'll hawk the rest at 10 times the market value until it comes out and becomes common, and then they'll just return it with their receipt and the over generous return policies of our retail system. The fact that we're apparently probably not getting the cards that we've had for so long, the fact that if you actually want a complete collection, you've basically got to buy 5 or 6 starters. It's, and pardon me for phrasing it this way, but it's basically, seeing as how there's no official commentary from Activision, Toys for Bob, or Vicarious Visions on this, it's basically one of the 3 of them, or all of the 3 of them, giving collectors a big middle finger.
Seems to be a trend this time around.
Yeah, not great, especially since, honestly, those are, that's where your money's coming from. So I guess with Sky 6, we'll see probably a slimmed down, toned down game, that, who knows, maybe I'm predicting falsely, but, if as big as the numbers have been basically because collectors have had to get them all, and they're scaring off collectors in droves, this thing may fall flat on its face, and suddenly we'll see a 6-game character with 4 levels the next time around because of the fact that nobody bought it. Okay, I think this came out during, and I could be wrong here, but I think this came out during some of the pack stuff. It was an interview, or rather a review that a couple of people did. Looks like the website is actually pixelkin.org. They actually looked at the Superchargers Racing. Looks like they specifically looked at the 3DS version. And one thing that I took to note out of there, no offense to those folks, I kind of ignored their opinions because it's irrelevant to the news. Everybody will either love or hate or have some sort of middling feelings about it on their own. But they revealed that apparently in the story mode, vehicles will have 2 attacks, kind of like a high attack and a low attack. But when you're playing the actual racing portion, you will only have a single attack from your vehicle. There are apparently other attacks available, a la Mario Kart, where you'll get mystery items from some sort of mystery box or an icon that floats on the screen somewhere. And they honestly pointed out that it was a lot more fun to go Mad Max style and shoot people up with whatever you've got on your vehicle than it was to worry about, am I going to get the equivalent of, a banana or the equivalent of a blue shell?
Yeah, it could be. I can't wait to play it. I mean, and see how it all works. And vehicle combat racing is always a tricky thing. So I mean, you can't really directly attack in Mario Kart, so having that option could be really interesting.
Yeah, they didn't specifically say who they were playing with, or if they did, I skipped it. But they basically talked about how one of the vehicles they used had a flamethrower on it. It was so much more fun just trying to run up behind somebody and melt them with a flamethrower than it was to worry about picking up the mystery items and maybe you'll hit them and maybe you won't.
Yeah, I'd say so. It's a flamethrower. Of course, it's more fun.
Definitely. All right, next news item. Double Dare Trigger Happy's vehicle has finally been named. It is called the Gold Rusher, and honestly, it is relatively underwhelming.
Do we have a picture of it?
I think so. I know in that one link I told you about pre-show, there was one there, and I believe that it's actually, well, no, the link that I had in there is just the name of it. If you go to that other link, you should be able to pull it up. But there have been some really blurry posts of it before, but there's something later on in the show that actually has, that we'll talk about, that actually has a listing of the photos of the actual toys for everything.
Gotcha. Yeah, maybe we'll get to it at that point.
Okay, and for anybody who has been to Dark Spyro and actually pays attention to the front page in a while, I actually saw this after I had my bad news and planning and everything, and it made me really happy, or at least part of it made me really happy, really briefly. Multiple new variants have been leaked. There is a legendary Astro Blast, a legendary Sunrunner, a Nitro version of the Soda Skimmer. There's an Easter Thrillipede that apparently nobody is thrilled with. And, best of all, there is a legendary Bone Bash Roller Brawl. And she looks evil.
Do you like her better than the normal version, though? I mean, paint job wise.
I don't know about paint job wise, but there's just something about that blue and gold, and then those pinkish, blood red eyes, staring at you, that just makes her look more vicious than what she did before.
What's with all the hate for the Easter figures, man? Easter Trigger Happy is one of my favorite Skylanders of all time.
I really couldn't tell you, man. There's not a lot of love for Thrillipede, period, and people were picking on him about, oh, he throws hand grenades, that's dumb. Well, somebody pointed out, they were like, well, I think it's fruit, and they were like, he throws exploding fruit, that's dumb. And it's like, have you never heard of Camo?
Calling it right now, Thrillipede's going to be the best character in the game.
Oh, and honestly, I had forgotten about it, but if you actually go to the front page of darkspyro.net, Dark52 Alex, he actually, in addition to the current top blurb that has all of those alt deco variants on there, the very bottom of it actually has a photo of the art for the Gold Rusher, so you can see what it looks like.
Let me pop that up on the screen here.
Honestly, looking at it, it looks like it's a bunch of Lego Technics shoved together.
So there's legendary Astro Blast. There's the Sunrunner. Legendary Bone Bash Roller Brawl. Yeah, she looks alright. She looks pretty good decked out in gold. Still not a fan of that stupid blue, but there's the Nitro Soda Skimmer. This is all just artwork, not actual photos of figures.
Well, the legendary ones are actual figures, and then the Nitro Soda Skimmer, Easter Thrillipede, and Gold Rusher are all art.
Yeah. So, cool. I just like the fact that they do springtime / Easter figures. It's always something cool to look forward to that time of year.
Yeah, it's good for them to remember, that there are other holidays in there, so. Alright, it has been speculated as, and I'll just go ahead and combine both of these in here because I don't think I had an alternate thing for it. Because of the fact that we are seeing a legendary version of Astro Blast and a legendary version of the Sunrunner, it has been confirmed through third-party sources that it looks like we are getting a Toys R Us exclusive legendary version of the Air Racing Pack. As a result of that, it has been brought into question as to whether or not there will be a legendary Wolfgang statue, since that's what's in with the Air Racing pack. And if so, if that indicates if it's just the statue that might be legendary, or if there might be a legendary Wolfgang character available in that particular racing pack.
Somebody say legendary Wolfgang figure, maybe?
Well, not a figure. He's going to be the trophy in that particular pack, and it unlocks him as a villain for you to race against, and then later to to go ahead and play as.
I gotcha.
Whether or not you get a variant of him in that or not is yet to be revealed. All right, next one is I went ahead and just shoved everything together since it kept leaking out little bits and pieces and it wasn't complete, but looks like some folks had dug out some of the official Skylanders photos or photoshops of basically they'll have the character plus the vehicle, and then they'll have the art of their supercharged version, and we have seen those for the Sunrunner, High Volt, and Thrillipedes vehicles. I couldn't remember those, the names of those vehicles off the top of my head. I still can't, so I just went ahead and put their names in there. And then there are additional ones on darkspyro.net for the Gold Rusher and also for the Soda Skipper. If you're interested in viewing those, they are on the Everything We Know About Superchargers topic in the forum under Superchargers. They are on pages 101 and post 5030 for the Sunrunner, High Volt, and Thrillipedes vehicles, and then on page 102 and posts 5060 and 5089 for the Gold Rusher and Soda Skimmer, respectively.
Looks like those are heavily watermarked, so I'm not going to bother throwing those up on the screen. There's not much to look at, honestly. So,
yeah, if you're interested in seeing what the promo art looks like for those particular vehicles, and maybe later on for other ones as they come up, feel free to check that out. I thought it was worth mentioning that we're finally getting almost a full set of leaked details at this point, outside of what actually happens in the game. All right, and it looks like I can't remember who, but also found this on Dark Spyro. It looks like the voices for Splat, Thrillipede, Astro Blast, and Smash Hit have been found. Apparently, some of the other characters saying like their catchphrases or just talking in game have been found previously, but here are apparently some of the last characters. I know it's 4 characters that haven't been heard of before. There are apparently MP3s that are linked on darkspyro.net. And let me pull it up and tell you what the forum topic is. Of course, this is going to be the Superchargers forum topic, and it's literally called Voices for Splat, Thrillipede, Astro Blast, and Smash Hit Found. So there you go. And pulling this up, it looks like it is moderator Mateo Max who actually found these and linked to these. So if you want to check those out and hear those catchphrases, just go ahead and hop onto darkspyro.net. Go to the forums, go to the Skylander Superchargers forum, and then look up that particular topic. They are clickable links, which maybe you can save them, maybe you can't, maybe you should, maybe you shouldn't. I'm not making those judgment calls, but you'll get to hear those characters say their names before you actually get to the point where you own them or find a soul gem for them.
Yep.
All right, finally, last but not least, Toys R Us Superchargers demo stations are beginning to appear in the wild. It was reported by, initially it was one darkspyro.net forum user who had pointed it out, and let me go ahead and pull this up so I can give them appropriate credit. And then I saw somebody else who had linked to actually a video, I think, of them putting something on the portal and actually, having it play everything. The person who I'm searching for right here actually went ahead and it was Mega Spyro. They actually made the announcement, and then the second post that I had listed there, they actually went ahead and took a photo of what the portal looks like. Nothing, really too exciting. You have an LCD at the top. You have the standard, more or less standard, promo packaging / here's what the basic characters that we're promoting look like. Art, on a little marquee right below the LCD, and then you've got the portal on the left-hand side of it. And what is a little bit new is they've actually got, it looks like 3 buttons that you can push to apparently get the LCD to react to you. The top says how to get started. The second one says meet the superchargers, and the third one says ready, set, race. I'm guessing the video that somebody else posted a page or two after that. This is on everything we need to know about, or everything we know about superchargers on darkspyro.net on page 104, and it's either at the bottom of that page or at the beginning of the next page. Yeah, it looks like it's somewhere later on that somebody posted a video of one of those things going off. So start looking around your... Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Is it just me, or does that portal look absolutely huge?
Well, I mean, it doesn't look any bigger than it did when they originally leaked it out. I mean, that's an actual, or at least 1-to-1 size-wise, production portal that's on there.
Yeah, just seeing it in context of something that we kind of know how big it is, it just looks massive to me.
Yeah, it looks like it's most of the size of a dinner plate, which would be enough room for you to put on a vehicle and 2 gimmick figures.
Yep. Awesome. So that's it for the news this week, huh?
Yep, we are finally done. I've finally run dry of things to talk about until next week.
Okie dokie. So you know what that means, guys. It's time for Skylander of the Week. Skylander of the Week. All right, Doug. I thought that we would do something different for Skylander of the Week this week, since we're on the live show, and I don't know. I just like to change things up. So it's my turn to choose Skylander of the Week, and I have chosen, but I haven't shared with you who my choice is. Abby knows because she helped me pick. So what I wanted to do is I want to play a game where you try to guess my choice for Skylander of the Week. But you can only do this by asking me yes or no questions, and you have 20 questions before you lose the game. And if it takes you 20 questions to figure out what Skylander I chose, then you are bad at this game because it can't possibly take that many. But
well, I mean, it could take up to 7 just for me, actually 9 for me to figure out the element.
That's true.
That's half of my guesses.
That's true. But I mean, you could probably just ask me, is it this guy, and have a pretty good odds of getting it right. So with 20 possible options. So
out of 200 or so that we haven't picked yet. Yeah.
Those
are fantastic odds. Thank you.
But you kind of know like what I like, and what characters I'm into. So. All right, let's get started. Ask away. Ask me your questions. I will answer honestly.
Okay, well, hang on a second. I'm pulling up the document that you went ahead and created that we discussed, where we actually started keeping track of all of the Skylanders of the week, so I know who not to ask about.
Yeah, because I've gotten really bad lately about like picking a character and being like, oh wait, I thought we already did that guy, and then having to spend the next 20 minutes going back and looking through show notes. So
I'm probably not going to do this because since I already know which guy I'm going to choose, and I'm probably going to ask.
Yeah, you can't participate. You can answer the questions. If Doug asks a question, you can give him an answer.
I'm probably just going to give Doug the answer.
Is it the magic element?
Yes.
Is it Enigma?
Yes.
Okay, so apparently I could have gotten it in one, but I decided to play it safe.
Really? Okay. So how did you cheat? How did you just beat me at this game so badly?
Because you talked it up too much. You went, oh, you know what I play like, you know what I like, and so I went, okay, well, who has he been abusing, whenever he's actually been streaming, and it's Enigma.
Okay, so there we go. Thanks, Doug. That was completely and totally not entertaining for our fans because there was no drama, no anticipation at all.
When I saw 20 questions, I thought it was going to be something weird like, okay, we're going to, let the live people ask us 20 questions. And, we kind of have to answer it, family friendliness, reserved.
Well, not all of my ideas work out great, and this is a good example of that. But anyway, my choice for Skylander of the Week is Enigma.
I actually picked it out for
Out of sight. Out of sight.
I'm clicking
Out
on
of
Hear My
sight.
Motto on the website
Out of
and nothing
sight.
is happening. So, if that were working, you'd hear Enigma say "out of sight," because that's his motto. Enigma is a magic Skylander. He is a trap master, and of course he is from Skylander's trap team. And the reason I chose him is at some point this week, and I can't remember where I was on a message board. It may have been Reddit, it may have been Dark Spyro, I'm not sure. It may have been comments in an article, I can't recall. But somebody was talking about how completely worthless Enigma was. And I was just like, wait a minute, did you play the same character that I did? Because he's really awesome and really fun to play. So I'm going to read his biography since, Doug, you don't have it there in the show notes because I was trying to keep this a big secret. Summoned by a Mabu mystic, Enigma comes from a nameless place between the worlds. Though the mystic was really just looking for someone to play Skystones with, he was quickly enraptured by Enigma's stories about his mysterious homeland. Unfortunately, the darkness got wind of these stories, and seeking another realm to conquer, sent minions to lay siege on the gateway that remained open. Making matters worse, the Mabu had no idea how to close it, so with a legion of minions fast approaching, Enigma chose to use his Sigil of Mystery to seal the doorway, cutting him off from his home forever. The large sacrifice caught the attention of the trap team, who welcomed Enigma and gave him a home as a protector of Skylands. He now uses his Traptanium sigil to put a world of hurt on evil everywhere. So that's pretty cool. He got kind of jerked out of his home by some stupid Mabu just trying to find somebody to play Skystones with, and ended up becoming a Skylander.
Yeah, I'd have to be putting my Traptanium boot in some, Mabu butt at that point.
Yeah, but his boots are invisible, so... All right, let's look at his powers.
Hang on. This also lends credence to my previous theory from our 25th show when I pointed out that Kaboom, and his people are apparently international arms dealers, because this character from another realm who had never been near any of the standard Skyland stuff, he has Traptanium magically.
There you
it's
go.
supposed to be rare and special. So
Doug is the Skylands investigative reporter, coming up with all these crazy political theories. All right.
I'm like the lone gunman from the X-Files for the Skylands.
All right, let's look at powers. Mystic Staff. As a primary ability, you press attack 1 to swing the Mystic Staff. You can hold it to do a combo, or do like attack hold. His secondary ability is called Invisibility Mode. Press attack 2 to turn invisible and move around in total stealth. So this is really cool because you go invisible and you can walk around and you can see Enigma's footprints on the map where he's walking. But while he's invisible, he can't be hit or take damage from enemies. His Soul Gem ability, which is amazing, is called All Eye for the Several Eyes. Hold attack 3 and press attack 1 to fire eye beams and rain down eyeballs. So with his basic upgrades, you get an attack called Paradox Pound. Press attack 3 to slam the staff into the ground and damage all nearby enemies. You get Magic Mist. Magic Mist released in invisibility mode damages enemies over time. You get Cloak and Dagger. Invisibility mode lasts longer and freezes enemies. Cloak can do damage as well. And you get Paradox Power. Paradox Pound does more damage. He has 2 upgrade paths, Invisible Invader and Chief of Staff. So obviously Invisible Invader buffs his invisibility, and Chief of Staff improves his Mystic Staff attacks. So Invisible Invader, ninja style, attacks coming out of invisibility mode do extra damage. Mind-boggling. Paradox Pound does even more damage and blasts enemies back. And Give Up the Ghost. Ghost version of yourself appear while in invisibility mode. And then Chief of Staff mode, he has the Eye Dash combo. Press attack 1, attack 1, attack 2 for a Cloak Dash combo. Press attack 1, attack 3 for an Eye Slam combo. That's called Cloak Dash combo. And then, pardon me, last but not least, it's Raining Eyes. Hold attack 3 to charge up the Paradox Pound attack and rain down magic eyeballs. So, I chose to take Enigma down the Chief of Staff path because the concept of magic eyeballs raining down from the sky was just too good to ignore. And it turned out to be the right decision totally. Because if you can look at his staff here, for those of us who are in the live stream, you can see that his staff is kind of basically an eyeball. And when you use this attack, about, I don't know, what would you say, Abby, 50 of those things fall out of the sky and hit everything on the screen and then bounce around and do all kinds of crazy damage. So that's the attack I chose. The reason I like Enigma is because he's a very effective melee character. A lot of melee characters are kind of one-dimensional. You just walk up to stuff and smash them, and it's fairly easy to take damage as a melee character because you're always up in something's face. But the cool thing about Enigma is he can go into stealth mode, walk around, come in and out of stealth, do damage as he's going in and out of stealth, and just completely control the tempo and the place of all of the fights that are happening. And then, of course, he's got a really effective melee attack. It does a ton of damage. And then he's got the rain of eyeballs. Please stop doing that. You're making noise that doesn't need to be made. He's got the rain of eyeballs attack that makes eyeballs fall out of the sky. So, Doug, any thoughts on Enigma?
Honestly, I don't know that we ever actually got him out of the package. I know that we made sure to go pick him up and make sure we had him in hand. He's looked pretty cool, and I've seen you play him, but honestly, at this point, I don't remember whether he's mine or Emily's, and I'm almost certain that he's actually still sitting in a box.
I'll also say this about Enigma. As far as figure design and production goes, he's one of the coolest figures that has ever been made. Just because of the amount of detail that they put into making him have that invisible spectral effect. Essentially, all of his plastic parts are translucent and see-through. He has a cape that's also see-through, but then as you go up from like the lower portion of the figure up to the top part, he gets more opaque. And then at the very top where his hood would be, he's completely opaque, and he has this empty like hole where his head should be inside of this hood. And then his mystic staff is of course made out of the kind of semi-translucent plastic that all the Traptanium weapons are made out of. But just a really incredibly cool figure. Definitely one of my favorite figures from Trap Team. Obviously, since he is a Trap Master, there's just one version of him that you can get, and he should still be available at retail. I'll confess that I haven't seen an Enigma on shelves in quite a while. I don't know exactly how he was case packed and how widely he was available when he came out, but he seems to be fairly scarce at retail. Doug, have you seen any of these around in your area?
I haven't, but honestly, at this point, everything is scarce except for the really hardcore shelf warmers. For whatever reason, we've discussed some possibilities earlier, but haven't gotten any really confirmed responses from Activision, etc. It seems like retailers just aren't getting stock in anymore. Every once in a while, I guess somebody will trip over and find a box in the back and put something out, but Toys R Us is really the only one of the big box retailers that consistently has a lot of stuff on shelves. And unfortunately, it's a lot of kind of older stuff where they probably had like an extra, Wave 2 box or, Wave 1 box that, was kind of sitting there. There hasn't been anything interesting in probably the last 3 or 4 months, if that.
Yeah, so hopefully you can still get lucky and find him. If not, you may have to turn to eBay or Amazon to pick him up. But he is a fantastic character, by far one of my favorite Trap Masters. So definitely recommend that you pick up Enigma, who is my choice for our Skylander of the week. Now, moving right along, Doug, we have had some requests from the Twitch audience to talk about figure availability in Wave 1 and things like that, and I believe you have something like that coming up for us in the collecting segment, right?
We do.
Okay, cool. Well, let me play the bumper, and then we'll get right into that. Portal Masters Anonymous. Okay, cool. So, Abby, this is where we're going to get to actually see pictures of not all of, but the vast majority of the figures that are going to be available when we go to buy Superchargers. So, hopefully you're still awake. And barely, okay. Hang in there for a few more minutes, because I really want you to see this stuff. Doug, tell us what you've got for us this week on the collecting segment.
Okay, well, this is not exactly brand new news. I did have this emailed to myself a while back, but we never got to post it or talk about it or anything. Dark52, Alex of darkspyro.net, managed to somehow once again lay his hands on the case pack assortment for waves 1 and 2. We may see some other case pack assortments wander in shortly, but at the moment right now we have 1 and 2 confirmed through whatever anonymous source is wonderful enough to pass along that information to him so that he can leak it out to the rest of us. It looks like the Superchargers figures are going to be packed in case packs of 12. The vehicles are also case packs of 12, and then it looks like the dual packs where you have the Superchargers and their respective vehicles, those are 6-packed, and then the racing packs are also 6-packed. For Wave 1, figure-wise, the cases are going to consist of 4 of Diveclops, 4 of Stormblade, 2 of Terrafin, and 2 of Fiesta. Honestly, I would tell you not to worry about Terrafin too much and concentrate on finding Fiesta, seeing as how Diveclops and Stormblade are much more common. They're double the number in the case, and also because of some information that I will share very shortly, if you're not already aware of it, that kind of makes picking up an individual Terrafin sort of useless. All right, for the vehicles, it's going to be packed 4 of the Dive Bomber, which is Diveclops' vehicle, 3 of the Sky Slicer, which is Stormblade's vehicle, 3 of the Sea Shadow, which is, can't think of her name off the top of my head, but she's the dark character who is not part of Wave 1, and then 2 of the Crypt Crusher, which is Fiesta's vehicle. Again, if, in your rush, hopefully, day 1, hopefully a midnight launch to get these things, I would again concentrate on the Crypt Crusher, Fiesta's vehicle, just because it is more short-packed than everything else in the assortment. For the character vehicle twin packs, we have Terrafin and the Shark Tank. Those are 3 per pack. And then we also have Jetvac and the Jetstream, which are also 3 per pack. So I would recommend, if you're if you're going to be picking up any Supercharger, of course you should, even if you're not a total completionist collector, if you're going to take advantage of the Supercharge ability whatsoever, you need to have the matching vehicle. So it makes the most sense, money-wise, and gotta grab it off the shelf-wise, to just go ahead and pick up the character packed in with their vehicle if you can. So avoid the individual Terrafin, because you know that he's going to be available with the Shark Tank at launch with Wave 1. And then the racing pack that's going to be released is, of course, going to be the Sea Racing pack, which is going to have Gil Grunt and his vehicle, which I'm sure eventually I will learn the name of. There's 6 of those per box, so I
think it's the Reef Ripper, isn't it?
Yep, that sounds right. Grab those if you're going to be, picking up that character. Grab it for the racing pack if you want to play online with your friends, but no others for you to fight with, other, or compete with other consumers, at launch to pick those up. Wave 2, which for those in the U.S. is probably going to come the Tuesday after launch. I know with Giants it was really weird. It came like the day after, or maybe, I guess it could technically be interpreted as the same day. It was really weird that, if you remember, Matt, when we were coming back from the beach, we ran into like all of that Wave 2 stuff, or a bunch of the Wave 2 stuff at Target. And then I ended up having to send Emily on her own to Toys R Us for like the stuff that we couldn't come up with. Typically, it's going to be the Tuesday after launch for Wave 2, and Toys R Us is normally going to have it first. If you're in another country outside of the U.S., you might get lucky and get Wave 2 stuff first thing. Apparently, some of the folks who managed to catch the Amazon listings for all of the Wave 2 characters and vehicles and such when they very briefly had them up, and actually get them pre-ordered. Supposedly they're getting them delivered day one, so bravo, congratulations for you guys, but I am completely jealous and upset that I won't have these immediately. That being said, for the characters, we have 4 of Smash Hit, 4 of Nightfall, and 4 of High Volt. Just to point out, Smash Hit is available at launch at Best Buy in the steel-plated variant. Honestly, we don't have any details from Best Buy as far as how they're packed. They could very well be packed 12 per case, since it is an individual character. Probably shouldn't have any hard time getting your hands on them, but if you can, I haven't rechecked, but if Best Buy has updated their site or will let you pre-order in-store for day one pickup in-store, I would suggest going ahead and doing that, just so you don't have to worry about it if you're wanting him immediately, or if you're wanting to be a completionist and not worry about picking the other stuff up. Additionally, as we had mentioned earlier, the Nitro version of the Stealth Stinger is going to be a day one pickup at Target. Again, not sure exactly what the case pack is going to be on those, because it is an exclusive figure in store, and we can speculate that they're probably going to be 12 per case, like the standard vehicles, but again, that's just a guess. At the moment, we don't have any confirmation for any of the legendaries being available at launch, but the way that things have been going, I'm going to cross my fingers and really hope that that Toys R Us is actually going to put out the legendary Roller Brawl at launch, since she's not available normally in Wave 1 or Wave 2 thus far. To carry on for Wave 2, the vehicles are going to be the Burn Cycle. There's going to be 4 of those. The Shark Tank, 2 of those. The Jetstream, 2 of those. And the regular Stealth Stinger, 4 of those. If you took my advice for Wave 1 and got Terrafin and the Shark Tank together, you shouldn't worry about the Shark Tank at all. You will need the Burn Cycle, as far as we know. We don't know of any other, at least off the top of my head, I can't think of any other dual packs that we know that are 100% certain that contain any of the other vehicles here, the Burn Cycle, or the Stealth Stinger. But go ahead and pick those up. As always, when you're picking stuff up and you're being a collector about it, or if you just specifically want certain characters, grab the ones off the shelf that have the lowest case pack first, so you don't have to worry about fighting with them later. That's how I ended up with all of the traps at launch and subsequent waves. I got good case pack listings, and whatever was the number, whatever was a 1 or a 2 as far as the packs for the traps, I went ahead and picked those up first, so I didn't have to worry about it or fight with people. So there you have that. As far as the, at least to me, weirdo triple packs that they've talked about doing, where they're putting in a supercharger and 2 vehicles, thus far I don't think we have any pricing ideas as far as what those are going to look like. Those are apparently packed 6 per pack. The one that's going to be available in the first 2 waves is part of Wave 2. It is going to be Terrafin and the Shark Tank and Jetstream. So it looks like we're getting a lot of saturation for Jetstream and Terrafin and the Shark Tank. Do yourself a favor, buy Jetvac and Jetstream and Terrafin and the Shark Tank as dual packs, and just don't worry about any of the rest of it. Worry about the other characters and any of the racing packs.
So that weird 3-pack there at the very end of Wave 2, there's nothing else bundled in with that, right? Other than the 2 vehicles and the supercharger?
Nope, it's a supercharger and 2 vehicles, and it's really, really bizarre, and I don't know why they're doing it. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, because, I mean, yes, multi-packs are usually economically, safer on your wallet, but if they're offering dual packs of, character plus vehicle, and there's overlap in those 2, just buy the 2, double packs, and then skip the triple pack that, has the overlap there.
All right, let's take a look at this and figure out day 1 purchases, or week 1 purchases, I guess we'll call it, since Wave 2 will be a couple days after launch. Obviously, whatever starters you want to get your hands on, then it seems like the 2 dual packs of Terrafin, Shark Tank, and Jetvac and Jetstream will be worth it. Then the C Racing pack obviously is a must-have for all the bonus stuff it gives you in the racing mode. then you're going to want to pick up Diveclops, Stormblade, Fiesta, Dive Bomber, Sky Slicer, Sea Shadow, and Crypt Crusher. And then a few days later, you're going to want to pick up Smash Hit, Nightfall, High Volt, the Burn Cycle, and Stealth Stinger as you decide whether you want to do Nitro or non-Nitro, right?
Yep. And if you're going to go for it all, you can pick up Nitro day one at Target. And if you're going to go non-Nitro, you're going to have to wait at least a couple of days to pick up the regular.
Hope you guys have been saving your lunch money. It's going to be an expensive day on September 20th.
Yep. And depending on how you're doing your starters, I would recommend, if Toys R Us does what they traditionally do, which is for midnight launches and from I think like 8 to 9 or 8 to 10 on launch day proper, they do a buy one get one half off, and usually it's all starters. They don't normally restrict it to just regular starters, or at least during the earliest hours they don't. So I would recommend honestly skipping the standard starters. If you're a Nintendo person, you're going to have a little bit of a different thought process on this, but my thought is I'm going to pick up the PS4 Dark Starter, I'm going to pick up the Wii Dark Starter and the Wii U Dark Starter, so that I've got all of the variants of the Darks, and I've got a 3DS starter pre-ordered. And then as far as the other standard starters, I'm going to wait until Black Friday and pick them up at whatever deep discount they've got right then. I recommend picking up the Darks early if you're going to go that way, just for the fact that normally the availability of systems for whatever Dark Pack is not great once you get really deep into whatever game it is, to be able to count on going to whatever retailer and saying, oh well, here's the one for my system. Usually they'll have whatever sold the poorest, and that'll be what they've got left.
Or you can wait until this time next year when all of the starters will be available for $3.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah. And probably not $3. That's too good of a deal to pass up, but pretty low price anyway. Abby's completely fallen asleep, and I just put Enigma on top of her head, and he's just kind of standing there.
You need to tweet out that photo for us.
Father of the Year. All right. Cool. Well, that's good info. We'll try to put that in a more accessible format for you. I know, Doug, you're planning on doing like a buying guide, that kind of like we did last year. So we'll have that information posted in a list format that you can take advantage of on the website in the coming days. And then I guess last but not least, we've got some photos of all of these guys, right?
Yep. I will let you either bring those up or not while we're on the show. Apparently, briefly, when they were doing their website update, Activision actually had the Skylanders site pull up all of these different various photos of the different characters and their vehicles and everything, so that you could finally get a real clear look at what everything looked like. And then within, it seemed like between like 12 and 24 hours, based on some of the posts that I was seeing, all of a sudden these links were going dead, and there were like strikes filed for copyright, and et cetera. A lot of people were unhappy about that, but they were ecstatic at the fact that they got their first looks at characters like Splat and Splatter Splasher and things like that. I will say that there is a user on Dark Spyro who did post a topic where they put some third-party links of all of those things up there. One of the things that's really cool about it is apparently when all of this information was found, that's how all of the new variants leaked out. So it's cool that we got that information out there. But I'll leave it up to you, man, as to whether or not you want to pull those up on the air, or if you just want to leave it hanging out there for folks to go do the research to pull those up, because there are a lot of photos.
Yeah, and we're running a little long, so I probably won't show them all. I wanted Abby to see Splat. She's up on the screen now.
Yeah, I've seen her.
She looks really cool.
Yeah.
Now that I'm seeing her up close, I'm noticing that she's
I like her little ball thing.
yeah, Doug,
that just kind of goes out of her hands.
what kind of mythical creature is she? I mean, she's got that like kind of a fawn, like almost a fey creature kind of look to her.
She looks like she's a satyr, maybe.
Yeah, okay, that's what I was trying to figure out, because you can definitely see she's got hooves, and and horns as well. She's incredibly cool looking. Cannot wait to get her. Do we know what wave she's in, Doug?
Honestly, off the top of my head, no, but I know that in a previous show or two, and while I'm sitting here yammering, I'll try and pull up some of the old notes. I think we ended up with a potential leak for like Wave 3 in addition to, stuff for Wave 1 and 2, which were speculated, and, now we have the confirmed Waves 1 and 2. Let's see.
So these pictures are all in a thread on Dark Spyro called All Supercharger Toys. So it would take another 30 or 45 minutes to show all these. I'll just pull up a couple as Doug's looking for that information. Here's Sharkshooter Terrafin. What? Yeah, Abby wants to take a break. Tell everybody good night. I think you can just sign off because we're about done.
Night, guys.
Thanks for hanging in there as long as you did. Cuddle says that Diveclops is a must-buy for him. I agree, Cuddle. Diveclops is one I'm very much looking forward to. Let's throw him up on the screen. And I know we've all seen him many times, but doesn't hurt to take another look at this cool little guy here. Diveclops. He looks big and burly, but he's actually a super, super tiny little guy. And let's see, who else do we want to take a look at? I want to see what Thrillipede is looking like. I haven't seen much of him, so I'll throw Thrillipede up on the screen.
He actually does look pretty cool.
Yeah, I like him a lot. I can't shake the vibe of him looking like a Ninja Turtle action figure. I can't wait to see what the Easter version looks like with the Easter eggs. That's going to be awesome. Alright, and let's see. Anybody else that we absolutely have to see? Let's throw Roller Brawl up for Doug.
Okay, here we go. I finally found the potential Wave 3 information, and it looks like if this is correct, then Abby and I are both going to be happy with Wave 3 whenever it comes out.
Because it'll have Roller Brawl and Splat.
Yep, Wave 3 is supposed to be, character-wise, Lava Lance Eruptor, Hurricane Jetpack, Big Bubble Pop Fizz, and Splat. And I'm going to guess that Splat's probably going to be 2 per. Hopefully Jetpack will be 2 per as well, the way that...
Now he'll be 50 in a case, because, Jetpack.
50 in a case of 12.
Yeah.
Let's see. Then we've got these are probably going to be 4-piece. Who knows? Maybe they'll mess with it. But it looks like the vehicles for that wave are going to be the Thump Truck, the Splatter Splasher, and the Shield Striker. If this is correct, looks like we will get the Sky Racing Action Pack in Wave 3, which is Astro Blast, the Sunrunner, and the Sky Trophy, which is the Wolfgang Trophy, and probably at the same time, if it doesn't release earlier, the Legendary version of that. And then we have 2 combo packs, 2 standard combo packs where it's a supercharger in a vehicle. We've got Pop Fizz and the Soda Skimmer and Roller Brawl and the Tomb Buggy. Those will probably be 3 apiece per pack. And then another one of those weirdo triple packs. We've got Roller Brawl, the Tomb Buggy, and the Splatter Splasher.
Very cool. I'm just throwing up a couple more pics as you're talking. I put Nightfall and High Volt up on the screen as well.
Yeah, no worries. Since the information that we had originally seen for, I know it was on Dark Spyro, I think it was also on myskylanders.de, seeing as how that has proved to be true for waves 1 and 2, it looks like wave 3 is probably going to be accurate as well. We just don't know what the actual case pack assortment are going to be on those guys.
Cuddle says Lava Lance Eruptor looks really good. I gotta agree, he looks awesome. It's a very cool improvement on Eruptor, a figure that I care almost nothing about. I'm actually excited to play him and see what he does in this game.
Yeah, it's got to be more than what he does, in any other game. Because honestly, I know it's completely mature, and I apologize to our younger listeners for not setting a better example. But basically, the thing I do with him that I have the most fun with, or really any fun with him, is basically where it makes it look like he poops lava on himself. He just goes, and then there's this giant sweeping pile of lava.
Setting a good example for all the children out there. All right, well, that was awesome. Thank you for all that, Doug. The next week and a half or so is going to be a good time to check out minikaboom.com. That's where we will... we don't have a lot of written content that we put up on the site. It's just not what we do, but we will have some going up in the next couple weeks. We'll have information about Extra Life going up. We'll have information about our launch day stream. We'll have a buying guide. Apparently there is a dogfight happening outside of my house. We'll have information from Doug on your day 1 and week 1 buying guides, case packings. All this stuff will be up in list format. Yeah, and we'll just try to make it as easy as we can on you for launch day. As we hear about sales and promotions and things, we'll be adding those to the site. Minecraft Nicholas says hi.
Hello.
Welcome to the show, Minecraft Nicholas. We're wrapping up here, but we appreciate you stopping in.
Matt,
yeah.
You didn't tell me that you were inviting Michael Vick on the show.
Ooh, get a flag on that play. I don't have a dog. I don't know whose dog that is, but it sounds pretty upset about something.
I know we'll discuss it later, but rest assured, fans, I will make Matt go ahead and create a list that is just a checklist, and then I will go ahead and have him create additional pages to that list that you can print out, where it'll be optimized by retailer and sales promotion and such. So once we get confirmation of whatever sales everybody's having, I'll go ahead and break everything down, and this will be collectors wise. If you're just going for to Target because you love Target, or you have a red card or something like that, feel free to just grab the main checklist for what's going to be available. But I'll try to get Matt to put together as many different versions of this as possible into one document, so that you can print out what you need and have it immediately available. That way you'll know what should be at hand wherever it is that you choose to go buy your stuff.
There you go. So yeah, man, we're basically 2 weeks away from this game coming out. This game that we're all super excited to get our hands on. I think that our whole Mini Kaboom fan base, our whole thing that we do, is going to be so much cooler and so much bigger and more fun when this game comes out, and we can all finally play the game together. So I'm excited, and I can't wait for that. We did skip over fan feedback. That's my bad. I'm just trying to wrap the show up, but I do want to once again call out and say thank you to all our Mini Kaboom fans who were supportive of Doug in this past week and everything that was going on there. I know he appreciated that. I want to give a few shout outs to a couple of new listeners. Ben, thanks for letting us know that you're listening to the show. Very much appreciate that. And also, let's see, shout out to Tony. Appreciate you dropping us a note and saying hi. Welcome to the show. Hope you're listening. Hope you're enjoying this. Yeah, again, everybody else, appreciate all your warm thoughts and support this week. Cuddle Muffin wants to know if we can post a link to the voices in the chat. Doug, would you mind doing that? Is that something you can do? Posting the voice chat link. Actually, you know what? I can do it.
Yeah,
I can do
I'm
it.
searching for it wherever it's. Oh, there we go. I'm actually going to post the Dark Spyro link, but
Yeah, that's fine. That'll be good. I know he wants to go hear those voices. So yeah, guys.
Apparently, I copied the wrong thing. Oops.
Um,
I
thanks
hate
for
you, Google Docs.
Thanks for hanging out with us tonight. And if you're in the Twitch audience, we appreciate all your comments and if you're listening to this through the podcast feed, sorry for the few little bumps and bruises here and there. It is a live show, and we wanted it to be a live show. We will be back on track next week with a pre-recorded show. We will have probably another live show before launch day. We'll probably do something similar to this where we just go through and talk about case packings and stuff like that. And we usually just do that because we're so daggone excited that we just want to sit around and talk about the game one more time before it comes out. So keep your eye on social media for that information. And yeah, Doug, any final thoughts you want to add before we wrap things up for this version of the show?
No, I'm pretty good. Again, what you said. Thanks everybody for the warm wishes and kind thoughts and everything, and the understanding for our schedule getting a little bit bumpy. This may sound a little bit morbid, but I'm going to knock on wood and hope that for my sake and everyone else's, that I do not have any more schedule interruptions with any more of my family, seeing as how it's been a rough month, 6 weeks or so.
It definitely has. You deserve a break from that kind of stuff for quite a while. So got my fingers crossed for you as well, and for everybody out there. It's it's never an easy thing to go through, but we'll be back next week with episode 30 of the Skycast. Wow, pretty cool. Once we hit 25, I just kind of stopped counting. So in the meantime, check out minikaboom.com, which is our website. We'll have all of the things that we told you about posted and going up there pretty soon, and lots of new stuff, exciting stuff happening as we get closer to launch for the game, so keep your eye on that. You absolutely should follow us on Twitter. It's mini_kaboom, and also at Mega Collector. Follow both of us there. The first one's myself and Abby, the second one's Doug. We post pretty much all of our news and stuff in Twitter before we post it anywhere else, just because that's where we have the biggest amount of fans engaging with us. So go follow us there. We're also on Facebook. Our username is just minikaboom, no spaces, and that's where you can find us on Google Plus as well, for the 0 of you that actually use Google Plus. We do have a voicemail line where you can call in and leave us a voicemail. That number is 913-703-MINI or 913-703-6464. You can also leave us a virtual voicemail at SpeakPipe. SpeakPipe.com/minikaboom is how you do that. Doug, did you plan on inserting that special bonus thing in there for the pre-recorded version of the show like we had talked about?
I didn't know if I should bring it up or not, since we hadn't mentioned it or not. It looks like we've lost most of the viewing audience, so should we hold off until next week and then insert it so nobody skips listening to this one?
I thought you were just going to drop it in on the recorded version.
Oh, that's what I was talking about, but since we didn't mention it up to this point, and most everybody that joined us live is now gone, I wouldn't want them to miss out on it. I mean, I can totally do it. We at least as far as I know, we didn't have an incredible number of people pass through the chat room and actually watch us live. So what Matt's talking about is the second of our retail interview segments that I got set up. We've got number 2 ready to roll out. And since we didn't mention it, I didn't necessarily want anybody who was listening and watching live to miss out and go, I can skip listening to this one on the feed. But
yeah, let's go ahead and throw it in there, just so we make sure and get all of them in before Superchargers comes out, like we had talked about. So
Okay.
So those of you who are listening to this on the feed and not live, not joining us live, you'll get a bonus interview as the second part of Doug's retail adventures in retail, right? So.
Yep, we will go ahead and make sure that's inserted, and I haven't gotten the final edit numbers down on it, but honestly, that's probably going to push this to be our longest episode ever because the second interview is close to an hour.
Okay, yeah, so you're looking at a 3-hour podcast, guys, because we're at 2 hours and 15 minutes right now, give or take, cutting out a little bit of a false start. So, enjoy. All right, I'm going to go ahead and turn off the stream now, and I guess for our pre-recorded audience, you'll hear that interview, and then we'll just let that be the end of the show. So thank you all for hanging out with us on episode 29, and we are out.